I sing praises to your name. Oh Lord, praises to your name. Oh Lord, for your name is great and greatly to be praised. I sing praises to your name. Lord, we thank you for today. Lord, you bless us and you come and you dwell amongst us, Lord, and you give us peace. So, Lord, as we sing praises to your name, we enjoy your presence. We enjoy being with you. We enjoy knowing that you are God and knowing that you know us by name, by the hairs on our head. So, Lord, we give you glory this morning. We thank you for blessing us in so many ways. As we just stop, Lord, and we take a moment to really ponder all the things that you have already done in our life and all the things you're still going to do. We just want to glorify you and thank you for it. For we do not deserve anything that we get from you, but we receive it because you love us. So, Lord, we thank you. Let us admonish you with our life and with our body and with all that we have, as you gave all that you have for us. So, Lord, we thank you for today, for this time to spend together, your people, gathered in your place to give you glory. So let us glorify you, Lord. Let us be who you call us to be, those that worship you in heart, in soul, and in mind, and in body. We thank you. We thank you. Well, living below in this low sinful world, hardly an offer can afford, and striving alone to face temptation's call. Where could I go but to the Lord? Now where could I go? Where could I go? Seeking refuge for my soul, and needing a friend to help me in the end. Where could I go but to the Lord? Well, neighbors are kind, I love them everyone. We get along in sweet accord. But when I pass this train at the left, where could I go but to the Lord? Well, where could I go? Where could I go? Seeking a refuge for my soul, and needing a friend to help me in the end. Where could I go but to the Lord? Well, I hear his friend with friends I love so dear. Comfort I get from God's own word. But when my soul needs love from above, well, where could I go but to the Lord? Well, where could I go? Where could I go? Seeking a refuge for my soul, and needing a friend to help me in the end. Where could I go but to the Lord? Well, where could I go but to the Lord? break right there. Amen. How's everybody today? Good day, amen? September. Hard to believe it's going to be 2020. Feast of Tabernacles is in 6 weeks. And then, what is it? I think another 6 weeks till Thanksgiving. And then another 4 weeks till Christmas. And it's going to be 2020. Wow. And it rained last night. Some places it did, some places it didn't. And they're very close to each other. The places where Vanessa woke up this morning, she said it rained last night. I said, no, it couldn't rain because I always wake up when it rains. And I didn't wake up, so it must not rain. And I looked outside and it was good and dusty, so I thought, well, she must have been dreaming. And as we got closer to church, it looked like it rained pretty good. So I don't know how far from the house she went in her walk last night, but wherever she went. I was just mindful of a lot of things the last couple of weeks. A lot of different things transpire, a lot of different things happen, and so when that happens, it causes us to just go through a lot of things in our mind, and you know, one of the things that happens to us a lot of times without us giving it a lot of thought or really even thinking about it is our emotions take over and they have an ill effect on us most of the time. When we allow our emotions to direct our steps and do what we're going to do next, or the way that we feel or anything like that, it usually has an ill effect on us physically, spiritually, mentally, in a lot of ways. And then when we get to the place where we realize that I've let my emotions get out of hand, and we gather ourselves back up, and we put everything back in place, and we regain our composure, we realize that something was wrong. Now I want you to remember that word wrong. Just kind of put that in the back of your mind, and it'll come back up here in a little while. But just the idea that, you know, I let my emotions get the best of me, as we might say, and it caused me wrong. Now, an emotion by definition, is a natural, instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. So our emotions are basically, it's an instinctive state of mind, according by definition, that is a direct reaction to the things going on around us. Now, one of the words that jumped out at me was mood. Wow. That's a little bitty 4-letter word, right? But it's huge. Mood. By definition, mood is a temporary state of mind or feeling. Remember the mood rings from the 1970s? Somebody thought that they would be able to give you something they could wear, that when they woke up to talk to you, they could tell what kind of mood you were in. So I wrote down the colors and what they mean. Amber meant you were nervous or unhappy. And green meant you were pretty average or calm. And blue meant you were relaxed. Violet meant you were very happy. And black meant you were nervous. And gray meant you were anxious. And I thought, now wait a minute. I didn't see a color for angry. That's the one I wanted the most. I want to be able to walk up and look at your mood ring and know if you're angry or not. If you're angry, I'll just go on. But there wasn't no color for angry, and I thought, well, you know, we've had a lot of discussions here, and they talked a lot about anger and how anger is one of those emotions that jump up on us and get us all wound up and cause us to do something wrong. And so I went back and was going back through that, and I thought, anger, by definition, is a strong feeling of displeasure and belligerence aroused by a wrong. And I thought, oh wow. Wrong and anger kind of blended themselves together. When I allow my emotions to do something, it causes a wrong. We usually find ourselves in a, even if it's just a little bit, I'm just a little bit angry. My mood rating isn't the full color yet. It's still changing. The word word anger appears in the King James Bible over 250 times. 5 times in the New Testament. And I thought, now that is amazing. When I began to look that up, I thought, wow, over 250 times it's in the King James Bible and only 5 times in the New Testament. This was all stirred in my mind and caused by a comment that somebody made when they said, Jesus got angry when he was in the temple. And that's what started this whole thought process, this whole thing. So let's look at that. John chapter 2. John chapter 2, 12 through 17. After this, he went down to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and they continued there not many days. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables. And said to them that sold the doves, take these things hence, make not my Father's house a house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered that it is written, the zeal of thine house has eaten me up. Now they're referring to an old writing in Psalms of David in Psalm 69 verse 9. For the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach it, they are fallen upon me. Now, nowhere in there does it say that Jesus was angry. As a matter of fact, as we read that, it says that Jesus stopped and he made him a small scourge. He sat down, he seen what was going on, he walked in the temple, and they're selling oxen and sheep and doves, and they're changing money, and they're cheating people instead. And I did some real good reading on this, and the reason that happened is because the people that were traveling to come to the Passover, they didn't want to travel and bring their sacrifice with them. They were a lot like us today. Well, it's a whole lot easier if I just go there and buy it. I know, God, you want the best of my first fruits, and this is a real nice little lamb, but I don't want to pack this thing all the way to Jerusalem, so I'll just buy one. I'll just sell this one and buy one when I get there. See, that's how we are. Lord, I know you tell me to do this a certain way, but it's a whole lot easier for me if I do it this way. So I'm still going to do what you're telling me to do, but I'm going to adjust it a little bit because it's really kind of difficult for me to do that. Well, the doves and the sheep and the stuff they were selling were not the best of the best. And they were willing to settle for that because they didn't have to bring the one from home. But see, Jesus, when you see this in a movie, when they depict Jesus going into the temple in a movie or in a show, he runs in and he's all riled and he's throwing things everywhere. That's not what it says. It says he went and he seen what was going on. And he said he went and he made him a small scourge. He sat down and he got some leather straps. And he sat there just like, remember that when they accused the lady of adultery and he was just riding on the ground? Well, when I read this, I see, look, he stopped. And he made him a small scourge. He made him a little whip. And then he run them all out of the temple. It doesn't say that he was violent or anything. It said he turned over the tables, he dumped out the money, and he run all the little animals out. You guys get on out of here. Now, you're not going to do that in my Father's house. And I thought about, at my house, Dale and Ken come and help me, and Max come and help me, and we built this real nice carport. We used some trusses to build it, so there's lots of places for birds to sit. And I like to park my cars under that carport. And the birds like to come and rest in the top. And so you know what happens while they're resting. And I don't mind the birds resting, but they're not going to rest in my carport. Now, I'm not angry. I'm not out there screaming and hollering. They know my voice. When they go to fly in the carport, I can say, get out of my carport. They just keep right on going. Because for a while, I used to go out there with my little slingshot. And there's shoe boxes. I never did hit one. I was always afraid of breaking a window out of a car. But I wasn't out there angry just tearing things up. I was just out there getting out what doesn't belong. And that's what Jesus was doing in the temple. He went in the temple, he seen what was going on, and you know, like, well, he got angry. Well, it doesn't say that, because when Jesus gets angry, they make mention of that. Go to Mark chapter 3 and verse 5. Now here it is. The Pharisees and scribes are trying to find a reason to to get Jesus, to try to find him doing something wrong. And here it is the Sabbath. And so he's walking in Mark 3 and verse 5. And he's walking and he sees this guy with a withered hand and he wants to heal him, but he knows that the scribes and the Pharisees are watching and he knows what their attitude is and he knows what they're thinking. So it says, and when he had looked round about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts, he saith unto the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it out and his hand was restored whole as the other. See, Jesus, when he's angry, they wrote down that he was angry. Because it never happened. Now, if you're a disciple and you're traveling around with Jesus and you've been with him and you've gotten angry, Peter's gotten angry, Thomas has gotten angry, Matthew's gotten, they've all had a chance to get angry, but Jesus never does. And you've got to think about that. Okay, I've been walking with Jesus for 3 or 4 years and he never gets mad. So when he gets angry, they're going to write it down. And they wrote down that he was angry. He was angry because of the way they felt in their heart. And see, when Jesus gets angry, when he got angry there, it's not an anger like we have. See, Jesus was upset because they were denying God. They were doing everything they could to go against what God was doing. His anger is centered on the things of God. Our anger is centered on the things of ourselves. See, the Bible says we're not to have idols. You know that this body that I live in can be an idol to myself. I can be my own idol. When everything that's going on around me is more important to me than my relationship with God, guess what became the idol? That's what Jesus was upset about here. That's why he got angry. Because I take the life and the body and everything that I've been blessed with by God and I put it ahead of him. And I become my own idol. See, the only time that Jesus got angry is mentioned right there in the book of Mark. When he came into the temple, he didn't act, I don't believe that he acted the way that they depicted in the movie. I believe he came in and said, this is not the right time or the place for this. Y'all got to go. Just take your tables, take your money, and get on out of here. And all you little animals, get them on out of here. These are not fit for my Father's house. It wasn't Jesus' character to do that. And so the one time that happened, we can't turn that around and say, see, Jesus is sinful too because he got angry. That way I can get angry because it's okay. Because let's look at the other times in the New Testament that anger is mentioned 3 more times. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. When I heard someone make that statement, well, Jesus got angry when he was in the temple, I was like, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for 1 minute. Because the Bible also tells me that he was sinful and he was perfect. So for someone to say, Jesus got angry, you're telling me that he done exactly what he teaches us not to do, and I don't believe that happened. I believe if we'd have been there today to watch him do it, we'd have thought, how can he do all of this and not get angry? I'm sure that's what I'm convinced that's what the disciples thought. Wow, he come in here. I mean, if you walk into the temple and you got all these people set up changing money and all these people setting up selling all these animals, and you make a big scene out of it, it's going to be mentioned more than one time in the Bible. There's going to be a whole lot of people writing about what Jesus did. But see, I don't believe that's what happened. I believe John tells it exactly how it happened. Jesus went and sat down, and he made him a small skirt. He said, okay, I'm going to get what I need so I can just come on. He was a shepherd. He didn't abuse animals. He didn't chase a bunch of animals out of it. He didn't scream and holler, jump up and down and rant and rave. That's not my Jesus.